Hey, what's up movers? Kellen from Movement Parallels Life here, back with some more movement goodness for your quarantine. So I'm happy to share with you this simple movement practice today. We're going through 30 movements in 30 minutes. We'll get a little bit of everything in this one, some mobility, some strength, some conditioning, some stretching. This is a great workout to get you moving, have you break a sweat, but you won't be overdoing it. As always, take the movements at your pace, use my movements as a template for your movements, make any modifications that you need to. Really taking your time to be intentional, dial these movements in, and focus on connecting to the target areas. Keep things easy, no equipment necessary, just some open, comfortable floor space. Yeah, and maybe have a towel and a water bottle nearby in case you want to turn up a little bit. If you love this workout, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a friend. If you want to take a deeper dive, then check out my training app on Playbook. That's where I've got more in-depth follow-along practices and training programs. If you're into my style of movement training, I know you're gonna love it. All right, that's my intro. Welcome in. Now let's get to work.
Once again, we've got 30 movements coming up in this workout. I'll cue you through the switches every minute or so. We're going to start off with a warm-up focusing on mobility and stability. That's going to build us up to our strength and conditioning drills, and then we'll finish things off with some stretching. We'll lead off today with knee-hand spinal articulation. Set up a strong position with your palms pressing into the floor and your arms locked out. Begin moving through your spine, flexing and extending. Coordinate these movements with your breathing. As you feel comfortable, begin to add variation like rocking back and forth and adding circular motions. Next movement, we have kneeling rotation reaches. Start off with a crossbody reach by rotating through your shoulders, planting your same side arm, and then reaching across your body, extending into the stretch. If you want to mix things up, try a back reach. Again, rotate through the shoulders, lean back, and extend the same side arm. Next, we'll transition to kneeling hip rotations. From a kneeling position, splay your feet out slightly, shift your weight to one side so you can freely rotate the opposite hip. Rotate internally and externally a few times, rolling over the inside of your big toe. Take your time moving through this transition, feel the differences between right and left sides, and focus in on creating strength in the end ranges. Next, we'll make an easy transition into half kneeling get-ups. Start in a low kneel, rise up to a tall kneel, and step one leg forward into a half kneel. Press into the ground with the front foot and the back toes, rise up to standing. Reverse the path, returning to the ground under control, coming all the way back to the kneeling position. Add variety to this pattern by getting up and down, using different angles and different stances. Rise up to standing, step your feet together, and we'll transition into knee circles. Keep your feet, ankles, and knees held together, your spine long and core strong as you trace circles with your knees. As long as you're moving pain-free, start expanding the range of motion. Rise up to standing and transition into arm circles and shoulder twists. Make sure to set yourself up in a strong upright position. That means keeping your feet about hip width apart, your pelvis level, and your bottom ribs drop down. Trace full range of motion circles with your arms, making sure that the movement comes from the shoulders and not your spine. For the shoulder twist, hold your arms out to the sides with your palms facing the sky. Internally rotate one shoulder so your palm flips all the way over. Untwist that shoulder and switch sides. Lower your arms and come into a single leg stance. Spend the next minute balancing on this leg. Start by seeing if you can maintain your balance while you close your eyes. Then explore a variety of movements like tilting, hinging, reaching, and hopping. That's time. Switch sides and balance on your other leg. Step down, and next we're transitioning into bodyweight squats. Start off with a basic squat for 5 to 10 reps and then start to add variation. Change your stance and foot position to start mixing things up and expressing the squat in different ways. Now lower yourself down to the ground into a plank position. Next up, we've got scapular push-ups and shoulder taps. For your scapular push-ups, set up your plank with a wide hand placement. I prefer my fingers pointing out to the sides. Pull yourself down between your shoulder blades, squeezing them together. Then press through your locked out arms, spreading your shoulder blades across your back. For your shoulder taps, keep your plank strong and your shoulder blades protracted. Shift your weight without excessive rotation, just enough to pick up one arm and tap your opposite shoulder. That's time. Next, lower down to a seated position and we'll go to a side sit spin. Start by balancing on your butt and subtly shifting your weight from hip to hip. Use your hands to push off the ground and spin from side to side. Work to keep your feet off the ground to challenge your core and hip flexors. You can begin expanding the range of motion and riding that spin all the way into a prone lying position. Now make your way into a foot-hand crawl position, and for the next minute, we're working on 2-point contralateral holds. Set up a strong crawl position with your arms locked out and knees hovering just a few inches off the ground. Then pick up your opposite hand and foot, hold for 3 to 5 seconds, and then switch sides. Take one last hold, and then transition onto your back, and we'll go into rolling get-ups next. The idea here is to use the momentum from a rocking action to come all the way up to standing. You've got a few options here for the technique. You can choose one or mix and match. Rock up to a half kneeling position, a deep squat, or a single leg squat. Get one last rock up. We'll meet it standing and transitioning into split squat jumps. Start in a low crouch position. Keep your spine long, shoulders back, and core strong. Explode upward into a jump and then lower right back down into your deep split squat. The burn is real here. Stay focused, stay connected to your breathing, and take it one rep at a time. All right, that's time. Let's give our legs a rest and transition to some push-ups. For this variation, we've got a push-up and a rotation roll. You can modify the push-ups by performing them on your knees or with your hands on an elevated surface. Focus on allowing your shoulder blades to retract and protract through the push-up just like they did with the scapular push-ups we performed earlier. Complete anywhere between 1 and 5 push-ups, then step a leg across your body, rolling into a rotation and overhead reach. Pause for a moment and grab that resistance band that I forgot to tell you about earlier. Wrap the band around a fixed object or loop it around your feet from a seated position and we'll go into some rows. Sit up tall, keep your shoulders held back, and drive your elbows back behind you with each row. Hold each rep for 1 to 3 seconds, focusing in on the strength and engagement of the lats and the retraction of your shoulder blades. Don't allow your shoulders to shrug or create excess tension in your neck. That's time. Put your bands down and we'll transition back into another round of push-ups. For this round, we'll integrate the push-ups with tripod kick-throughs. Once again, perform anywhere between 1 and 5 push-ups. Then find your contralateral support, rotate to the side, and extend your leg out to either 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock. That's time. Now let's get one more round of band rows. And that's time. Bands down. And for our next movement, we've got back rolls. From a seated position, round your spine and rock back. Look down at the shoulder that you want to roll over. And as you rock back, kick the same side leg overhead and reach for the ground. Complete the roll and either flip over or crawl forward. If you're still figuring out your back roll, you can modify this by focusing on your rock ups or your lateral rolls. Back rolls are complete. Now transition to a plank position and we'll focus on a 3-point plank hold. Hold your strong plank, but keep 1 point of support off the ground at all times. Keep your body square to the ground. Avoid rotating, piking your hips, or any other such compensations to make this easier. Hang in there, final 10 seconds. Great job. Next, we'll move on to half kneeling side kicks. Keep the same side hand and knee on the ground as your points of support. Pull your free leg in towards your chest like a tuck position and then extend outward into a kick. This is another movement that can come with a serious burn. Do your best to keep moving for the entire minute. Kick outward, hold the leg extended, or lift and lower your straight leg. Switch sides and let's do it again. The leg that's kicking now just spent the last minute supporting and stabilizing, so you might find that this is the toughest minute of the workout. That's time. Now let's move on to some core work, a combo movement of tuck-ups and V-sits. Lay on your back with arms and legs extended. In one dynamic motion, pull your knees in towards your chest, pull your arms down and sit up. Perform 5 to 7 tuck-ups, then hold the top position. Extend your legs and keep your back straight for a 3 to 5 second V-sit hold. We're done with our tuck-ups. Now lie on your back and we'll transition into full bridge push-ups. Lie on your back with the soles of your feet on the floor with your heels close to your hips. Lift your hips up into a bridge and place your hands outside your ears. Press into the floor, extending your arms and pushing your hips up to the ceiling. As your arms reach full extension, press your chest forward. Work within your available range of motion and modify this movement to match your mobility. You might focus on just the hip bridge or elevate your feet to reduce some of the mobility demands. Now we'll take the last 5 minutes of today's practice to focus on stretching. Let's start off with 1 minute in a straddle long sit. Keep your legs strong, actively reaching away from your body, and maintain a long spine. If you're feeling tension or tightness, don't fight your body, modify the position. If necessary, bolster your hips or post your hands back behind you. Transition into a crossover sit hip stretch. Flex the foot of the crossover leg to protect your knee and maintain your long spine. Lean forward from the hips to feel the stretch in your glutes. Uncross your legs and switch sides. Uncross your legs and we'll transition into a split squat, split hinge stretch. Start off in a half kneeling position. Tuck your back toes and lift your back knee. Lengthen your stance if necessary and press down through the ball of your back foot to create the stretch. Straighten your front leg, hinge forward at the hips while holding your shoulders back to create a stretch through the front hamstring. Keep shifting your weight, alternating between the split squat and the split hinge, working within your available range of motion. Softly challenge yourself through the stretch, but remember to keep breathing. Step forward and switch your stance. Repeat the split squat, split hinge stretch on the other side. Begin to narrow your stance and rotate forward. We're going to finish out today's practice with 1 minute in our deep squat. Find a comfortable stance and elevate your heels if necessary to keep your spine long and chest up. Add variation to your squat to create different stretches. Change your stance, shift your weight, reach and rotate. All right, y'all, that's a wrap on today's practice. Great job, and thank you for taking time to check out this video and move with me. I'll be back before too long with another video. In the meantime, take good care of yourselves and each other. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep it positive, and keep on moving.